Hey everybody, this is Erica live. I don't know. I This is how I had to do it. So anyway, here I am. Hopefully you will all find me. I'm here about 2 minutes early. I'm going to be answering your personal questions. So I'll just wait till you come in. And if you are a subscriber to the channel, and if you've been a subscriber for 5 minutes or longer, then you can ask a question. Hi, Caroline. Good, you're here. I'm hoping everybody found me. I pre set this up, but then that part didn't work. So I'm just starting from scratch and coming on here, and hopefully people will see. Oh, good. You're all finding me. That's good. Hi, Crazy Chim. Hi, Natasha Cosmos. I like that. Hi, everybody. Okay. And as I said, I will answer as many questions as I can in the hour. I'll be back again in a few hours at, let's see what time, 5 Pacific. So I'm here for an hour now. I'll start in a couple of minutes, and I'm going to first look for member questions, and then sort of go from there. If there are enough member questions, that'll take up the whole hour. If not, then I will answer anybody's question. So, hi, Georgine. Thank you for being here. Okay, so it is now noon. So let me go back and see how this goes. Oh, you're welcome, Morgan Witch. Okay, let's see. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, and I'm looking for questions again from members. But I may just have to answer what I see. Mary Dean Carter, I know you, so I'm going to answer your question. You say that you're having cataract surgery in January, and you want to know how that will go. I'm not going to flip the lid up and down like I do when I'm usually doing a video, because that takes too much time. But I'm sure you can trust me that I will be ethical about how I'm doing these pulls. So the card for surgery of any kind, including cataract, is the site. So what I'm doing is I'm just looking for the site and seeing what we get. Mary Dean Carter. Okay. And I'm just going to pull 5 cards. Okay. So we have the heart, we have the whip, we have the scythe, we have the mice, and we have the clouds. And don't worry about mice and clouds, because this is really a very literal-minded reading here. I think you like the person who's doing the surgery. I think that you think that they are very well trained, and they are well trained. We have the scythe in the middle. Mice and clouds, where normally I would say, oh, but I'm not saying that, because clouds is about the way that you're seeing now, right? Your vision is kind of impaired because of the cataracts. That's clouds. The surgery will decrease that. So when we have mice and clouds together, it means that your vision will become clearer, which is to say the surgery will do exactly what it's supposed to do. So I don't think you have any worries on that score. Okay. I'm by myself today, so I'm just scrolling and doing what I can do here. Okay. Mystic Susie, I want to move in the spring. Will I move toward my community and my dream life? Well, you get to decide that, right? But I'm going to pull 5 cards on this move and see what we get. If I had time, I would look for the ship, but Spirit knows what I'm asking. So, um, okay. Oh, and the ship does pop up. So we have the child, we have the heart, we have the scythe in the middle, and that's interesting. I just pulled the scythe before. We have the cross, and we have the ship. I'm going to say that more than the idea of you moving towards the community of your dreams and the life of your dreams, it feels like this move is more about moving away from what has not served you. So, where you move to, this may not be the absolute ideal situation, but it is on the road towards the ideal. The child is something new. You want something new. That's the first card. The last card is the ship, which is a move. Um, you may have had some heartbreak, some pain in your life, because I can mirror this heart with the cross. The cross is the card of pain. So it feels like you want to move away from pain. The card that's in the center is scythe, and that's interesting because it's the card for a decision. So you have decided to put troubles behind you and move to a better situation. Again, it may not be the ideal one, but you will go closer to the ideal than where you are right now. So that's progress. So that's good. Okay, let's see. Will the nurses in San Diego go on strike again in January? I'm going to put my reading glasses on. They are actually also red, so you won't notice a difference. But I realize if I'm having to read this feed, I might want to be able to see it. Okay. Will the nurses in San Diego strike in January? Will there be a strike? I'm going to let Spirit pick all the cards. And I'm going to pull 5. Will the nurses go on strike in January in San Diego? Well, this is interesting because I actually ended up pulling a 6th card because the two stuck together. So we have the young man, the key, the bouquet, the garden, and then the rider. And right underneath the garden was the moon. So that was interesting. Okay. So, this young man is the card for a group of people, in this case, right, who want what they want and want to send a message that they deserve what they're asking for. Now, I like the key here, followed by the bouquet, because I'm wondering. I don't think you'll have to strike. I don't think they'll have to strike. I think there will be a settlement reached prior to that, because this is the garden. The garden is for people. People know how valuable nurses are. The government doesn't, but people do, and I can mirror that with the key. I don't. As I said, I pulled this extra card, and it came right with the garden. So I think that the nurses won't have to strike. I think that a deal will be reached that will be satisfactory to the nurses, and that's because we have the bouquet in the center, and that is like a reward for work well done. So it's well deserved. I don't think there will have to be a strike. Okay, let's see. Okay. This is Jennifer Bohemian Rose. What does the universe want me to know about my Reiki-ness in the upcoming months? Okay, so Jennifer Bohemian Rose, this is for you. What does the universe need you to know about your business in the coming months? And you have a spiritual healing business, we'll call it. Okay. Okay, what they want you to know is you have the child, the book, There's you in the center, the tree, and crossroads. So the message is that apparently you still have some things to learn. This is about things you don't know. And this is about being a novice at something. In other words, just there are things that you don't know. So I don't know if you've maybe gotten business coaching or, it's important to not just know the Reiki piece of it, but you also need to know the business end of it. And I feel like there are things that you're unaware of. Now, you're in the center, of course, the tree. Now, one of the things that you don't know is the fact that these kinds of things grow slowly. So don't get discouraged if everybody is not immediately flocking to your door. Word of mouth, all of that, advertising, things build slowly. So don't get discouraged. Now, what's interesting too is crossroads. Crossroads is about choices, and there may be some kind of thing that you want to do that you want to add to what you're doing. Because this is the card for diversifying in some way. So I don't know, I'm throwing this out. This is not spirit-led, but like, I don't know, do you want to sell essential oils? Do you want to take somebody else on who can add a component to the business, like massage? I just feel like you're going to add something on, but more than that, I feel like there are things you still need to know, whether it's business, whether it's the area that the physical area where you are, because obviously Reiki, for the most part, is a hands-on thing. I know about distance Reiki. I'm a Reiki master myself, but there are things that you need to know. You can go to a community college and take a course on business. I just feel like there are things that you need to know. And again, let things grow slowly. Do not be in a hurry. That's what the tree says. Okay. No, I'm not doing a general reading. I mean, come on. Somebody asked me, are you taking questions for members only or everybody? If I see members only, I will answer those first, but I'm not seeing them. So I'm just going down the list and answering questions. It is helpful to me if you join as a member. It's like $4 a month, $5 a month, something like that. So it's not much, but I know how people are. So, whatever. Again, putting your question in caps is not, okay, here we go. Here's a number. Love, Nature, Oz. That's nice. What's Spirit's message for me for the next 12 months? Okay, well, look, Spirit will have many messages for you for the next 12 months. That's very broad and very general, but I will give you a message. You're a member, and I appreciate that. So let's see, what is the message for you? I'll do a 3-card message. If I need more, I'll pull another 2, but I may not. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we have the scale, we have the anchor, and we have the garden. So I think that one of the things that you're being asked, this is Love, Nature, Oz, is to look for more balance in your life. We tend to overdo in different areas. This is asking for balance. And this is kind of the same thing, right? Anchor yourself. Decide, okay, this year I'm going to focus on X. And I'm not going to get distracted by ABC because I'm not focusing on X. Now, what's interesting is that the final card is the garden. And I feel like this is asking you to balance your energies in the way that you give them out to the world. So this is less about what you do in your home and more about what you give out. Be discerning about what you give out and be sure that you are anchored so that you're not flying all over the place and you're moving from a centered, anchored place. Okay. Again, I see a lot of questions. If you're not a member, I'm going to scroll past and then I will come back as I can. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. Toya, thank you. I appreciate the donation. My daughter is distant. Will she ever contact her family? This is a thing that's going on culturally. I think fully something like over 30% of Americans have decided to go no contact with family members. I experienced this myself. I did a video on this with my daughter who had gone no contact and then came back. So, to ask me, will she ever come back? Ever is a long time. And so my best advice to you, I will look, but my best advice is to live your life. Live your best life. The first and best gift you were ever given was your own life. Let her find her path. For whatever reason, this generation feels like they need to cut people off in order to, find themselves. Okay. So I drew 5 cards for you. This is obviously really painful. That's what the cross means. Because you love your daughter. How painful is it? It is really painful. Think of this as like a sunburn. The worst part about it is I feel like you really don't understand what precipitated it. Just know you are not alone in that. A lot of parents say that. They're like, all of a sudden, I can't get a hold of them. They blocked me. I don't know what I did. This is very common. And they're getting a lot of cultural support for doing this. It's generational is what I think. It is painful. Now, the sun and the whip. I feel like there have been arguments, but you probably said to yourself what a lot of people say, which is, well, we have had arguments before. Why is this the straw that broke the camel's back? I don't know why, but it is. And I get that it's painful. I like the fact that the heart is at the end. I will tell you that these young people going no contact, believe it or not, does not mean that they don't love you. I'm going to go a step further and say that what it does mean is that they have to learn how to love themselves. And we just have to give them the room and the space to do that. I'm sorry you're going through that. Just live your life, and maybe what happened to me will happen to you, which is that out of the blue one day, your kid will come back and say, I'm back. So I hope so for you. Okay. Hi, Vibe. Welcome. Hi, Vibe 001. Okay. Sheila K., thank you for being a member. How will my original music do? And I had a date yesterday. Will it turn into something more serious? Pretty sure that constitutes 2 questions. I appreciate that you're a member, but you can only have 1. So I'm going to go with the first one. How will my original music do? I guess you mean, in terms of seeing the light of day, getting public success. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the bouquet, because that stands for your musical endeavors. Okay. So that's going to stand for your music. And I'm going to pull 4 more cards. Okay. So we have the mountain, we have the ring, we have the bouquet that stands for your music, we have the garden, and we have you. Okay. I think that the thing to pay attention to, of course, first is the mountain, because a mountain is not a bad thing. It's just an opportunity to stop, reassess, Make tweaks where you need to make tweaks. But the second card is to stay committed. You know, you've heard of people being overnight successes. I would argue there's no such thing. There's no such thing. There's a lot of work that goes into looking like an overnight success. I'm an example of that, right? I've read Lenormand for 15 years before today. And people will think, oh, you just popped up and you're so successful. Well, yeah, but I also read for tens of thousands of people. So slow your roll, stay committed. I like the fact that the fourth card is the garden. The garden is the public, and then here's you at the end. I think your music will reach people. I think you will achieve some success with your music, but I think that you still have a mountain to climb, and that's just the dues that you have to pay to be, you know, if you want to be in the public eye. Let's see. Yes, we're live. I am one of, well, you know, there are black people who do Lenormand. I actually have come across them. They are few and far between. Yeah. Thank you to all your comments. Okay, here's one. Oh, Namir, hi. Good to see you. Will you meet a significant other in 2026? Okay, let's see. Will you meet a significant other? Namir, thank you for being a subscriber. All right, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look for the heart, because that's love. And you want to know, will you find love in 2026? Sometimes when I do these things, I feel rushed because there's so many people, you know, in the queue. But I'm going to try to force myself to not do that, to just do as many as I can. I'm coming back again at 5 Pacific, and I want to be able to give everybody the time that they deserve. So Namir, here's the heart card. That's what we're looking for. And I'm pulling 2 cards in front of it, 2 cards following it. Okay. So we have the ring, we have the stork, we have the heart for new love coming in, we have the moon, and we have the mice. Now, all of these are good cards saying yes, 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 except there's the one at the end, and I'm going to talk about that for a second. So, you know, you've probably kissed a lot of frogs, as a lot of us in life have had to do, and that's probably left you a little bit gun shy, because I can mirror that, you know, over and over and over. You know, you meet people, and is this the right one? Is this the right one? And then, you know, you get disappointed. But the second card is the stork. That's positive change. Every time you kiss a frog and say, ew, yeah, no, not that one, you're narrowing the field in a good way so that ideally all that's left is the prince, right? So we have the heart in the middle. Now, what's interesting, Namir, is that the last 2 cards, we have the moon and the mice. Let me just say, a lot of times women think of themselves, I know this sounds dumb, but as like cans of beans on a shelf, as though they're waiting to be selected by a discriminating consumer. But you're not the can of beans on the shelf. You are the discriminating consumer. So you get to be, as George Bush would say, the decider on who is worthy of your time and energy and attention and who isn't. Just dust yourself off and say, I am a prize. Because when this energy comes, you don't want this energy to be energy that comes across to people. Because it's like, oh, you know, pick me. Or, are you sure you really like me? No, you're a powerful person. You know, change those mice of anxiety and worry, will I meet the right one, etc., into excitement, like the Disney mice who were so excited to help Cinderella get ready for the ball, if you remember. You have a right to the exact right partner that you want. I would write it down. Write down exactly what you want, from shoe size to eye color to height to personality. Write it all down in here, because I do think someone will come in for you. You just have to change your own thinking about yourself. And we do that. We say, well, I haven't met anybody yet, and maybe it's me. It's not you. Okay. All right. So let me scroll back down so I can, I don't want to, okay, here we go. Interesting. Nancy Cooley, thank you for being a member. I decided to use spiritual healing techniques rather than traditional therapy to address childhood trauma. How will this decision work out for me? Okay. So I'm assuming this is your childhood trauma you're trying to heal, and you're going to go now in a more spiritual direction, and you'd like to know how that will work for your healing journey. Okay, so I'm going to let Spirit pull all the cards since we're looking at things spiritual, right? Okay. All right, so we have the garden, we have the letter, we have the snake, the fish, and the key. Okay, two things that I want to say. Question was, how will this work out for me? The world is wide, and the world of people who do spiritual healing work, which is kind of the work that I would do, I would argue, is also wide and varied, right? Like you can meet somebody who's like a circus carnival barker, or someone who's really serious about their craft. So it's about, you really want to do your due diligence because the world is wide. The last card in the line is the key. I do think it absolutely will help you if you find the right modality. Now we have the letter, and that is, make sure you check a person's credentials. For example, to be certified, let's just say, for example, in reading Lenormand or reading tarot, certified, like what? Come on. Like, check people's, you don't need certification, but check what people have to say about them, because, this is your emotions that we're talking about, and they're powerful, wounded emotions, but this is also money we're talking about. You don't want to throw away money. Now, what's in the center is the snake. Now, I want to say a word about the snake. 9 times out of 10, the snake is trouble, but sometimes it's not. And that's why I asked my artist to, and I'm not a snake fan, but, it's one of the Lenormand cards. I asked my artist to make sure that the snake was slithering through mugwort. Mugwort is a feminine herb that is used in healing and in divination. And so one of the meanings of the snake card that people tend to forget is a clever woman. So I think you will find a woman who practices some sort of spiritual healing art that will be very, very helpful to you. I'm just going to pull a card on the snake. Yes, it's good. You will find, as they say, enlightenment through this modality. And the fact that we have the twin of the sun, which is the key at the end of the line, means I think that it would be a really good option to look for some alternative modalities, especially if you've already tried conventional therapy and have reached the limits of what it can offer you. I think you will do very well. Okay. Let's see. Angie May, thank you for being a supporter of the channel. And I'm so sorry. So here's the question. My brother was found dead on Thursday by his son. We can't find his money anywhere. Will his son find it, or did someone take it? All right. Well, I will tell you that when it comes to money and death, boy, do people get weird about that. I mean, your brother was found, what, yesterday? And already we're talking about the money? Let's see if I can. Oh, you know what? I'll look for the money. So, money is fish. Uh, oh, and I looked at the bottom of the deck just to check where to see if the card was there, and whoop, there it was. You know how I'm always surprised when that happens. So this is the card. This is your brother's money. Your brother who died the other day. So I'm going to take the cards that precede it. And, okay. So we have rider, we have young woman, we have dog, we have moon, and we have fish, which stands for money. So the card that is interesting to me is the card that's in the center, and that is dog. Now, dog, see, it can be two things. It can be a relative, but it also can be an attorney. I mean, if they knew everybody was going to be swarming around, if he knew everybody was going to be swarming around whatever money he had, maybe he put it with an attorney. But it's with someone that he trusted. That much I will tell you. And you will find out. I mean, that you will find out. But I mean, the guy just died, so maybe let's bury him and remember him first before we worry about where his money is. But you will find out. Yeah. I'm sorry about the loss. Let's see. I started an online. This is Rebecca Santos. I don't want to mess your name up. Trucoche? I don't know. Sorry. Hi, Eric. I started an online store and want to know if it'll be successful and if there are changes I need to make. Thank you for being a member of the channel. And we're looking at your online store. There's a card for that. And the card for that, believe it or not, is the star, because the star is for all things online. But here we are meaning it to be for your online store. How will your online store do? So I'm just going to look for the star. Okay. So this stands for your online store. And I'm putting the two cards to the left of it and then the two cards to the right of it. Okay. We have coffin, letter, star, whip, mountain. Now, this will not be an overnight success, let me just say. The coffin, I mean, nobody likes a coffin, but sometimes we do. Because one of the things that the coffin is transformation. So whatever you have up, whatever you're doing with this store, looks like you will completely change what you're offering. I can mirror it with the mountain. That's the last card. So maybe hold off on launching, or maybe unlaunch it and then relaunch it. Make sure that you have a very clear business plan, because I can mirror this card with the whip. You don't want to put anything up on a whim, including an online store. It's like a YouTube channel. I thought long and hard before I put this channel up. What's it going to be about? What will I offer to people? Am I going to be politically neutral, or am I going to take a side? Am I going to, what am I going to do? So I feel like that's what needs to happen. There's more work that needs to be done. This is the card for, the whip is the card for discipline and focus. And so do you have a written out business plan, or do you have a whole bunch of inventory of stuff and you just thought, oh, let me put up a shop? That won't work. Stop, slow your roll, take your time, because I think that in the end, what you end up putting up will be quite different from what you initially have thought you were going to put up. So I hope that's helpful. Okay. Rena Zumba, thank you for being a subscriber. How can you please tell me if my son will get a teaching job with a college, or would it be K through 12? He has a master's in history. Thank you. So let me just say, for those who don't know, and I don't know, maybe you don't know, nowadays people who teach K through 12, there was a move to make sure that everybody had a master's degree. Of course, it's also true that teachers are leaving the teaching field in droves. So they may have relaxed that requirement, but a master's degree is generally required for K through 12. In a college, you would absolutely need a master's degree, and you would only be an adjunct professor, which means that there's no tenure or anything like that, unless you're on a PhD track. But will he find a teaching job? I mean, I would think that there are all kinds of teaching jobs available, but we want to know, will he find a teaching job? I'm going to use the Fox because that is the French card for job. So that's the card that I use for job. And we want to know, will your son get a teaching job? Okay. So here's the card for a job. Okay. So we have clover, woman, box, whip, tree. I think that, yes, because we have clover here, which is great. It's lucky. He may get a job through word of mouth. Someone he knows may work at a school and say, oh, there's an opening. Or there may be a parent of a student who says, oh, there's an opening where my child goes to school. So I just feel like there will be a woman who gives him a tip. And I think that it will be a place that he will like and also stay for a long time. I think it's K through 12, frankly, because of the tree. Because if it were college, it would just be an adjunct position. And, after a few years, they don't keep you. They move on to get a new adjunct. I will say, though, also that they will work him really hard, which is also, par for the course. You don't just teach your little courses and then go home and relax. Especially for new teachers, he'll be asked to do things like coach a sport or advise a club or something like that. So he should expect to work very, very hard. But I think it will be a place that he really likes. I think it'll be a position that comes out of the blue with clover. And I think it'll be a place that he gets tenure. So yes, I think that will happen. Okay. Okay. I'm looking for people who are members of the, channel members or subscribers. So let's see. Okay. This is for Rachel Mann, PhD. Good for you. My question was, will my work and book in 2026 catch on nationally and thus influence my income in a positive way? All right, so we're going to look for your book, and we want to know whether that will catch fire. Okay, let's see. Yeah, sorry, I had pre-scheduled this, and then when I went to go there, I couldn't get in, and I'm like, well, it's ridiculous. So I just started a new channel. So when I come on again at 5, just know I will be coming in again at 5, and I won't announce it or anything. I won't put the thing up. I'll just come on just like I did here. Sorry about that. I don't, tech is not my thing. All right. Where am I? Oh, Rachel Mann. Is this what I'm looking at? Yes. Will your book and your work catch on? So we're going to look for the book. Will it catch on in 2026? Yeah, so much for scheduling things in advance. I don't know. All right, here's your book. Generally in Lenormand, the book is about things we don't know, but sometimes a book is a book. And I am intending for this book this time to stand for, Rachel, your book and your work. Okay. All right. Interesting. Now I shuffled the cards, and yet we have Clover again. We have Coffin. We have Book, Lily, and Ring. I like these really a lot for you, Rachel. Don't know what your work is about or your book, but Clover is terrific. I think your work will be, dare I say, transformative in some ways. This is the card for transformation. And will bring a lot of people a lot of enlightenment and comfort, because that's the Lily. The Ring, it makes me feel like there will be something about it that is that will make it a classic that people come back to and back to and back to and back to. I don't know if there's like a reference material vibe to it at all. Like, oh, let me go back to that chapter because that I need to refresh myself on it. But people will come back and back and back to your work, and I feel like it'll happen fast. I think it'll catch fire quickly in 2026. So, and obviously by extension, that means that it will enhance your income, because book sales do that. By the way, not by very much. As you all know, I have a book out, and I will tell you that if you go the traditional publishing route, it's like the author gets 10 cents on the dollar, just so you know. Okay, but congratulations. I think your work will be very successful. High Vibe 001. I'd like to know the energy surrounding the purchase of a duplex between January and March. Is it a good idea to purchase duplex around between January and March? Okay. So I'm going to look for a house, and that will stand for the duplex. Buried deep in the deck. Okay. So this stands for the purchase of your duplex between January and March. We have the Man, we have the Ship, and the Ship is the card for a move. We have the House, we have the Mountain, and we have the Young Woman. I'm going to say that I would do it. I think that the prospect of purchasing it will be more towards March than January, just because we have the Mountain, and so there's a delay. But I pulled some clarifiers on this house, this duplex. We have the Coffin, the Key, and the Lily. So I think that waiting is a good idea. I think you'll find the perfect place because of the Key here. And, again, the Coffin is about, one of the meanings of Coffin, you may find it a little small, but I think that's okay. I don't think you'll mind. Could be that you're downsizing even, but because it looks like an ideal situation. But I would say closer to spring than January. Okay. Let's see. Thank you for supporting my work, Barbara. You're all welcome. Oh. Okay, I'm not going to read on whether someone is going to pass soon. I don't like the energy of that, so sorry. I'm not gonna do that. Jacqueline, is it an S on there? Jacqueline's, yes, 2368. Will you buy your dream home in 2026? I heard that there is not a lot of real estate available to buy. I think people are holding on to their homes, hoping that the market will change, but that's got nothing to do with the cards. That's just what I heard on the news. Okay, so Jacqueline, let's see. Will you buy your dream home? Again, I'm going to use the house and see what's around it. Okay, so this is your dream home. Okay, so we have the letter, we have the snake, we have your dream home in 2026, we have the scythe, and we have the tower. I'll tell you what. If you are financing this, because don't we all finance, unless we have a property that we're selling to finance the home that we're moving to, there may be issues with financing this home. I don't love the snake here. I hear it's not a good card. And I can mirror it with the scythe. So there may be, I just feel like, make sure that you have a good source of financing for this home. The final card, this is not always, but in this case feels very bank-like to me. This feels like a mortgage or something like that. You may find your dream home, but there are going to be issues around it because these two cards mirror each other. So be careful. You don't want to be so starry-eyed. Like, okay, when I was married, if I had to buy a car, this is terrible, but he was not wrong. My husband would say, Erica, okay, here's the thing. We're going to go into this dealership, and you need to let me do the talking, because what's going to happen is you're going to see a car, you're going to fall in love with it, probably because of the color that it is. And the guy selling the car is going to know that they have a patsy on a hook, and then they ask an exorbitant price. So you can pinch me or something, give me a high sign when you see what you like, and then I will do the negotiating. I know how sexist that is. I get that. But I'm an old lady and he was even older. So, well, it was many, many years ago. But at any rate, I tell that story to say to you, be careful, because when people know that this is your dream home, now they're in the catbird seat, and you want to be in a good position to negotiate. So it's just a little warning. There are many dream homes out there for you. You don't want to get taken in because you saw something shiny and, whatever they ask is what you give. So be careful of that. No, I'm not going to answer a second question when there are other people here, right? All right, I'm going to go back. Let's see. Okay, this is not your average BRY. I don't know what that means, but that's your name anyway. Oh, Brianna. Okay, that's right. Not your average Brie. Okay. I've been applying to school. Will I get an interview for a physician's assistant school this coming 2026 January through March term? Will I be accepted into the program? Sadly, that is one of those programs that has been, or professions, that the current administration has deemed not professional. I don't know where they get that from, but so I will say, if you get in, that would be great. Whether there will be funding for you will be another story entirely, because federal funding will not be available to you for that program. But you're not asking me about funding, not your average Pre. You're asking me, will you get in? Or will you be accepted into the program? Okay, so let's look. That's kind of a yes, no. So we have the book, we have the mountain, and we have the tower. It doesn't look great. Again, and I don't presume to know your financial situation, but if what you're hoping for is to be accepted in with funding, I don't think there will be that funding. Now, this won't be forever, because this administration will not be around forever. But for now, I'm not loving these cards. The book is like things are up in the air. The mountain is a delay, and then this is the school itself. And it's also funding sources. So I might want to have a plan B if I were you, and put that off for a little while. Okay. I'm going back because I don't want to miss people. And we've got about 10 minutes left. Sorry, I'm taking all this time to scroll. Okay, I love Fiona 420. I'm in Red, Arkansas, 65 years old, grew up in patriarchal Baptist narcissistic household. Last year I went no contact with them. What is spiritually to be learned from this? From this being, I guess, the going no contact. I mean, this is what people do nowadays. And I'm not saying that there are not conditions that call for that. I also, though, think that it seems to be sort of a little bit of a fad. But what can you learn spiritually from this? So I'm going to use the moon, because that is the card for spiritual lessons. What spiritual lessons will you learn from going no contact with your family? Okay, so the moon popped up pretty fast. Okay, so we have the tree, the young woman, the moon, the bouquet, and the star. Now, you are older, so you're not among that demographic of 30 and 40-year-olds who are going no contact, and younger. You're my age group. So for a long, long time, that's the tree, you have felt by your family of origin, I would say, you've been made to feel less than, right? In the way that kind of culture will make women feel lesser, right? So that's how you did feel. You have actually, it seems, given yourself a gift by going no contact. I think it's a favor that you've done to your younger self so that you can reclaim yourself. The star is the card for hope. And I like that. I think sometimes when we're in the midst of a situation that we think is abusive, because it is, we can get very tunnel vision. And I think that's what happened to you. So by going no contact, you've kind of removed the curtains from in front of you, removed the scales from your eyes, to be biblical about it. And you see the world in a much clearer, broader way. And you see your own possibilities. A lot of the possibilities that you probably gave up or were told were unreasonable when you were young. So, in fact, in your case, going no contact seems to have been a gift. So, it was a good thing. Okay. Okay, I'm reading. Probably can do a couple more. No, okay, I'm not going to do that one. Lady 1801, you're telling me you put your question in twice. Well, I don't see it. So instead of telling me you put your question in twice, maybe you might want to put your question in again. And if I'm scrolling back, if I don't get to you, maybe try again in a little while. Speaking of kids, that's my daughter, but I will tell her that I'll talk to her in 5 minutes. Let's see. I wanna. Oh, good. I know it's so annoying, but I joined the military and will be able to pay for it that way. Not your average bride. That's great. That's terrific. But I still feel like there is a delay. So maybe not for this semester, maybe for the following semester, you'll be able to get in. But that's great that the payment is not an issue. Okay. All right, this will be the last one. Marjorie Stevens, and then I'll come back again at 5 Pacific time. I'm retiring from being in education, but I'm hoping I'm doing the right thing financially. Well, okay, how will your finances be now that you have retired from education? If you've retired, I'm assuming that you have a pension. If you're of a certain age, you'll have a pension and Social Security. But you want to know how your financial situation will be. So let's look at that. And you're going to use the fish. Okay. Okay, so we have the tree, we have the fox, we have the fish, we have clouds, and we have stork. So I think that the main thing to focus on is clouds and stork, because I like the order that they come in. You're thinking about your long-term finances, long-term, and I can mirror that with the very last card, which is the stork. In the long run, your financial situation will be fine. It really will. Now, we have the fox, and I can mirror that with the clouds. So don't get taken in by any get-rich-quick schemes. There's that. Also, education. If you were a teacher, you can always tutor, and you can do that on your own schedule. So if you have any kind of doubts or worries, I think there will be ways that you find to supplement your income, because with this card at the end, your finances are going to be fine. Yes. All right. Is there anything quick in the 2 minutes that I have left? Again, if you're a subscriber, I'm happy to answer. If you are a member, I'm even happier to answer, because this is a hard work. Um, I feel like I've answered a bunch. All right. Oh, well, here's one. Jason Vincent, are you a subscriber? I've seen your name before, I know. Do the cards see any earthquakes in Southern California for the next 6 months? We always have earthquakes here, so. But the cards are the bouquet, the ring, and the tower. I think everything will be fine. It'll be the same kind of earthquakes that we always have, where the buildings are obviously up to code, and nothing falls apart. So I don't think there will be any huge catastrophes here in Southern California in the next 6 months. No. All right, you all. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I will be back again at 5 Pacific. If you've had a turn, please come and watch, but let other people take a turn if they've not had one. And I'll see you again in a few hours. Take care.